Hey, what's going on, y'all? In this video, we're going to do things a little bit differently and talk about three things your apartment is not. Now, we cover a lot of like, hey, your apartment is this, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this here, but we're going to do something a little bit different because I want to help shape expectations whenever you're doing a search for your next apartment here in Austin or just in the state of Texas in general. So, three things that your apartment is not. Number one, your apartment is not a hotel. So I say that because I don't want you to go into this, into a search or into an apartment property thinking that you will get the same level of service, you'll get the same level of quality and luxuriousness and amazingness as you will get as a hotel. A hotel is hospitality, an apartment is living property. So don't think that you're going to have the hotel feel in an apartment. Now most people can kind of may say, well, Marcus, that's not necessarily true, depending on the level of luxury, or if you're living like in high-rise living, then you'll get more of a hotel feel there because there's a little more, you have like concierge, and but you're also paying a far greater amount than what you would pay with standard apartments. So those are a little bit different, but if you're just renting a regular apartment here in Austin or in Texas, know that it's an apartment. It's not a hotel. Don't expect a hotel experience. Don't expect that if you put in a service ticket, someone is going to come to your door that day. It's not room service. If you have a complaint, in most cases, they're going to take it up their chain of command, like they being the leasing agents or whoever's working the office or whoever's the property management company. They have a process and a system in place that they'll follow for any service tickets or any complaints or any feedback that you have. So don't expect like an immediate answer or an immediate fix. It's an apartment, not a hotel. So that's the number one thing your apartment is not. Number two, the second thing your apartment is not, and not necessarily the apartment isn't, but all experiences and services are not equal. So what is that? What do you mean that, Mark? Services not are not equal. You will probably get a different service experience or a different engagement or interaction experience if you're living in an apartment that's maybe $800 a month for a studio compared to the service level you would get for paying $1,400 a month for a studio, right? Now, and when I'm giving that example, I'm doing like a comparison between, like maybe like standard apartments compared to like luxury or high rise apartments. So that's why the services are different, right? So if you're saying like, hey, I want to pay as cheap as less as possible, Marcus. I don't want to pay a whole lot. I'll pay, you know, $500 for a studio. Well, that's going to be a different level of service at $500 a studio compared to an $800 property who has a studio for $800 a month compared to a property that has $1,400 for a studio for their property. Pricing will impact the type of service and the type of experience that you're going to have. So, I hate to use the term, but we've all heard it. You get what you pay for. That is definitely true. So, if you are used to living in, let's say, luxury property, and you're just like, you know what, I'm going to cut costs. I'm going to move into a cheaper place. And let's say you were paying, $1,000 for a one bedroom. We're going to make that up. I don't think that's the I'm using that definitely as an example because right about now, the average price in Austin is around $1,400 for an 800 square foot or 868 square foot apartment. So that's about a one bedroom. But just for this example, I'm going to say you're paying $1,000 because it's just easier math than saying 1468 for 868 square foot apartment unit. It's just easier. We'll just say 1,000, right? So that's my logic there. So if you're paying $1,000, say for a one bedroom, and then you're like, you know what, I'm gonna see what I can get for $700 a month. What does a one bedroom for $700 a month look like? And let's just say you find it. that's going to probably be a completely different experience than if you were paying the $1,000 for a one bedroom apartment, which will be different, even more of a different experience if you're paying $1,500 a month for a one bedroom, or if you're paying $3,700 a month for a one bedroom apartment. Marcus, why would I pay that? Because if you're at $3,700 for a one bedroom, you're probably looking at a high rise or tower living. Again, there are levels to these things. There are levels to these properties, right? So understand that all services, all experiences are not created equal, and the type of service you can expect and the experience you can expect will predominantly be based around the budget and what you're paying in rent. And then the third thing, number three, that your apartment is not, well, I say the apartment, but again, based on experience, is that your apartment rent prices are not negotiable, right? If they're saying, "Hey, this is the price," and this is just from my experience, if they say that the price is 1,500, they're likely not going to negotiate that to be a lesser price. Now, this is apartment living. This is not single family homes. This is not you moving into a neighborhood residences, single family homes. This is not that. Okay. With apartments, the rent price is typically not negotiable, especially if you're looking at like a larger property, if you're looking at a larger complex with like 300 or more units, right? So if you're coming to a property and you're saying like, well, I'm going to negotiate it because, they want people renting, they want people in their units. I'm going to be completely transparent with you. And well, I'm always transparent. I'm going to be completely candid with you. And most properties are going to say, no, thank you. Because to them, they know, especially if you're looking at moving to Austin or, a major city in Texas, somebody is going to pay the price. Someone's going to pay that rent, and they are more than willing, more than happy to wait for that room or that unit to get rented than to try and to take a negotiated rent amount today. Okay, so I only bring that up because that does come up sometimes when I'm working with clients. It's not a thing, right? Now, have there been situations that I've heard of where people are going to like independent apartments, right? So you go to an apartment and maybe it's, you know, 5 units, 6 units, like the lower end of what constitutes or actually represents commercial property. Maybe, depending on how long that space has been empty, maybe you have a point there. Maybe you have an opportunity there because the units are like maybe 5 to 8 or maybe even 10 units. They might negotiate there, but again, that's a much smaller property. Even though technically they are an apartment, which is commercial property, you may have more of opportunity there, maybe. But what I'm speaking of is if you're looking more at complexes that have like the larger amenities, the more upgraded amenities, again, 300 units or more. I mean, it can even be as low as maybe like 180. They're not going to negotiate. Like the rent is the rent, the price is the price, right? So just want you to know that going in so you know what to expect, what you're looking for. Now, what those properties, those larger properties, what they do, what they do instead of negotiate is that's when you have like leasing specials and that's when you have move-in specials. And they do that to kind of balance out the rent or maybe give you an incentive to move in compared to another property. That's why you see those specials. So for them, that is their version of negotiating, if you still want to use that word, negotiating the rent, but it's pretty standard. Like it's stuck there. Like, hey, this is our move-in special for this month, but like we're not going any lower than this, right? And even then, that special comes with criteria, right? Is this your first time moving in, or this special is on specific units, or this special is only if you do a look-in lease, right? I did a video on look-in lease if you want a little more clarity on what that is. Um, And so that is the break, the rent price flexibility that you will see with larger properties. But as far as like negotiating to where you're going to come in and say, this is the price I want to pay, non-existent for the properties that I'm referencing, right? So anyway, 3 things that your apartment is not or doesn't do or isn't a thing. I hope it's been helpful. If there's anything I've missed or if you have additional questions or you want me to cover anything else in a future video, by all means, leave me a comment below. Happy to do it. If you need some help or want some help or just want to save some time in your apartment search, feel free to give myself and the team a shout. Love to help make this more streamlined and easy for you. If you're already in your apartment and you're already in your place and you're just kind of like, bro, I got it, we're good. Cool, but you want a couple of things that'll make your apartment feel like home? Well, check out the description. We have a couple links in there where we've done the search on Amazon for you, even with some tariffs to help make your place feel like home. So, with that being said, until next time, you stay awesome and you stay amazing.